It's not a comfort blanket, it's a comfort bomb. Like you are in shell shock once you've had it. This week on Best of British, it's steak and kidney pudding. This is like an original G of the classic British comfort food you can get your hands on. Steak and kidney pudding is a perfect example of nose to tail cooking. As a chef, it doesn't get any better than that. And I just love that it's the way that we used to cook. Taking something as humble as the beef kidney, using what it comes housed in, that beautiful, priceless suet, and then putting it into a showstopper like steak and kidney pudding, making sure that there's no food waste along the way. It's got a couple of nicknames within the British Armed Forces, and particularly up in the northwest where I used to have a restaurant. It's known as a baby's head. It's been around since the 1860s at least, and it's a pudding, not a pie. And the key ingredient to make it a pudding is that it's cooked in a pudding basin and it's made with suet pastry. The best steak and kidney pudding, in my opinion, is made with oxtail, beef shin, ox kidney, onions. That's it. And then my secret weapon is some marmite. I make a marmite stock. It's just like so British, you might as well be a corgi or something. The thing that makes this dish is the suet that it comes encased in. We're going to use that to make our pastry. Now, if you don't want to do this or you can't get hold of it, this is the iconic traditional British method of make it tin pudding, is you use this dried suet. We add that to some self-raising flour and some water and then an egg yolk. We just bring that together, Bob's your uncle. We need to brown this meat, but first up, let's deal with the suet and the kidney. Get the suet that comes with the beef kidneys, and all you do is you cut it off, put it in the freezer so it gets nice and firm. For the filling, we're going to slice the onions down into nice chunks. Next up, we're going to take the beef shin and the oxtail into a searing hot pan and get them beautifully browned and coloured on the outside. The more colour you get, the more gnarliness, the more flavour. Now take those out and add the onions into the mix and cook them down until they start charring and caramelising. Again, you want that slightly charred vibe. It gives a slightly bitter flavour. And now take your kidney, cut it into chunks, and we're going to fry that off in the pan as well. Once they're all done, put them into your pan, add your water, marmite and apple cider liquor, pour that all over, lid on, and we're going to let that cook away for a couple of hours just to make sure that the beef is falling off the bone. I tend to do the filling the day before. I'll strain the meat and pick the meat off the bone and get it all perfect. But also with the liquor, I put it in the fridge and I let that set, and it means that the fat rises to the top and I can just scrape it off nice and easily, and then I can use that to cook with. The beef filling needs to chill. Then once it's at room temperature, I add 2 or 3 tablespoons of the cooking liquor back in. That filling looks absolutely insane. It's the mix of the shin with the oxtail, and then you've got the beautiful beef kidney in there and the onions. Like that on its own is delicious, but wrapped up in the suet pastry, it's going to blow your minds. So, suet pastry. So it's 250 grams of self-raising flour, 150 grams of suet, then you want 1 egg yolk and 150 mils of water. And get it mixing. It's a super simple dough to make. It's ridiculous. You don't need to use a mixer. I'm just being lazy. Mix that around until all the ingredients become incorporated. Then take it out, wrap it up in cling film and let it rest for 20 to 30 minutes at room temperature. Now I'm going to slightly dust the surface and we're going to roll out the pastry. And you want it about the thickness of a pound coin. The pastry can lose its integrity and collapse really easily, so don't roll it too thin. Once you've done that, take your pudding basin and we're going to cut the lid, and now the pastry filling that goes in, cut an extra 4 or 5 centimetres around the pudding basin, and that's the pastry that's going to go into the bowl. Grease the pudding basin with a load of butter. And now we can put the pastry in. And be careful that there's a rim of pastry that goes over the top all the way around. Now time for the filling. Make sure that when you're putting it in, you're doing it softly, but you are packing it down. You don't want any spaces, you don't want any holes. So once you've got to the top, take the excess pastry that's over the rim and fold it back onto the top. Then just with a little bit of water, blend one piece of pastry into another. Once that's done, it's time to get the lid on. So this is the tricky bit. You've got to take your time with this and get it spot on. First off, grease 2 pieces of greaseproof paper. They're going to go on the top and they're going to help to create a waterproof lid, and then put the piece of tin foil round and make sure that it can go down to the lip. Right, now we've got to get the string on. Just get a piece so it fits all the way round. You've got to make sure that it goes under the rim, that it's nice and tight and it's sealed tightly so no moisture can get in. Then what I do is I put a piece of tin foil and get it into something that like resembles that, and then just curl it round until you get something that looks like that. That goes into the bottom of the pan, and it just means that it raises the pudding basin off the lid, and so it means that there's water getting underneath there. You get a far better even cup. And now it's time to put the boiling hot water in. You've got to fill it so the water goes up to halfway on the pudding basin, no higher. You want to make sure that no water touches the top or gets anywhere around your manufactured lid. We're trying to keep the pastry dry within. Bring it up to the tiniest simmer, lid on, and then it tickles away for 2 hours. This is top tier, grade A, best quality comfort food you can get your hands on. Suet pastry is completely different to everything else you've ever tried. It's this Victorian pastry that's made from animal fat. Steak and kidney pudding, without doubt, in the top 10 of British dishes. It's moist, but it has a rough, not crunchiness, but a rough gruffness to it that is just the most incredible encasing and accompaniment to go with the filling. And so the pastry casing has created this vacuum seal, if you like. It steamed the meat from the inside and everything's got to know each other. And the filling is like just beefy and meaty and delicious, but it's not too wet. You've just got to have a steak and kidney pudding once in your life. Oh God, this British information broadcast has now come to an end. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen, steak and kidney pudding done. What did you think of it? Let me know in the comment box below. If you're liking the Best of British series, then let me know what dishes you want to see in the comment box below. Increase the peace, spread the love. See you later.